Now we can see that it is PPF'd on the corners, you can see, so it's wrapped over the top of the PPF, so we're hoping the paint's going to be okay.
The story of Matt Armstrong's Bugatti Chiron rebuild is much more than a simple car repair project. It is a journey that has captured the attention of millions of people around the world, including those who are not normally interested in supercars. At first glance, it looks like another YouTube project where someone fixes a damaged vehicle. But as the story unfolds, it becomes clear that this build is something very different. It is a story about determination, creativity, engineering, and the belief that impossible problems can be solved with enough patience and skill. When Matt Armstrong bought the heavily damaged Bugatti Chiron, many people believed the project would never succeed. The car had been involved in a serious accident, and even Bugatti had declared it beyond repair. Most experts believed it would cost far more to fix than it was worth. Others thought many of the damaged parts would simply be impossible to replace because Bugatti keeps tight control over its vehicles and does not normally sell important parts for cars that have been written off. Instead of walking away, Matt decided to take on one of the biggest challenges of his career. Every step of the rebuild brought new surprises, new setbacks, and new discoveries that no one expected. As more people watched the project online, excitement continued to grow. Viewers wanted to know whether this incredible machine could really return to the road. The rebuild soon became more than entertainment. It became a symbol of what independent builders can achieve when they refuse to accept that something is impossible. Instead of following the usual rules, Matt and his team relied on careful research, practical experience, and countless hours of hard work. Their goal was never just to repair an expensive car. They wanted to prove that passion, skill, and determination could overcome challenges that even some of the biggest automotive companies considered impossible. That belief became the driving force behind one of the most talked about car rebuilds ever shared on YouTube as the rebuild moved forward. One of the biggest questions was not whether Bugatti could be repaired, but whether it could become even better than before. One of the first major changes came from the exhaust system, and this completely changed the personality of the car. A normal Bugatti Chiron is designed to be incredibly fast while still feeling smooth and quiet. Even though it produces nearly 1,500 horsepower, the factory exhaust keeps much of the engine's sound under control. Bugatti wanted the car to feel refined and comfortable instead of loud and aggressive. Matt Armstrong and his team decided to take a different path. They worked with specialists to create what many believe was the first custom aftermarket exhaust system made specifically for the Chiron. This was not a simple bolt-on upgrade. Because almost no one had ever attempted this before, every part had to be carefully designed from the beginning. Engineers measured the original exhaust, scanned its shape, and created a completely new system that would fit perfectly while allowing the engine to breathe more freely. When the car was started for the first time with a new exhaust, everyone standing nearby immediately noticed a difference. Instead of the calm and controlled sound that Bugatti owners were used to hearing, the engine produced a much deeper, sharper, and more exciting roar. It sounded like a racing machine rather than a luxury hypercar. The louder sound made many people believe the engine had become much more powerful, even though the biggest change was how freely the engine could express itself. Videos of the first startup quickly spread across social media, and millions of viewers watched in amazement. Some people loved the new sound because it gave the Chiron a more aggressive character, while others preferred the quiet refinement of the original design. Either way, everyone agreed that this was something completely new. The custom exhaust became one of the defining moments of the entire rebuild, proving that independent builders could create solutions that many believed only the factory could produce. It also showed that this project was no longer just about repairing crash damage. It was about exploring new possibilities and pushing the limits of what a Bugatti Chiron could become. Although the new exhaust attracted a lot of attention, the biggest challenge was still hidden deep inside the Bugatti structure. To repair the damage properly, Matt Armstrong and his team had to perform a task that many experts believe should only be done by Bugatti itself. They needed to separate the car into two large sections so they could reach the damaged parts hidden between the front and rear of the vehicle. This was an extremely risky process because the Bugatti Chiron is one of the most advanced cars ever built. Every part is designed with incredible precision, and even a tiny mistake during disassembly or reassembly could affect the car's safety and performance. Many people remember when Bugatti CEO explained that only a very small number of facilities in the world had the equipment and trained technicians needed to carry out such work correctly. Instead of giving up, Matt and his father carefully studied the construction of the car and created their own method using the tools available in their workshop. They built special supports and lifting equipment to safely separate the two halves of the Chiron. As the car slowly came apart, the true extent of the crash damage became visible. Parts that looked fine from the outside were badly damaged underneath. The impact had pushed major engine components out of position, crushed coolant pipes, damaged engine mounts, and created several problems that could never have been seen without taking the car apart. At one point, many viewers feared the gearbox had developed a serious crack that could have ended the entire project. Fortunately, after careful cleaning and inspection, the team discovered that what looked like a crack was only dirt and surface marks rather than permanent damage. This moment gave everyone fresh hope that the rebuild could continue. The experience also proved how important careful inspection is when repairing high-performance vehicles. Rather than rushing through the process, the team checked every bolt, every bracket, and every connection before moving forward. Their patience and attention to detail showed that rebuilding a hypercar is not about working quickly, but about making sure every single part is returned to exactly the right place. That careful approach became one of the biggest reasons why so many people respected the project and continued following every new episode with excitement as the rebuild continued. Another major challenge appeared. Some of the damaged parts could not simply be repaired or ordered from Bugatti because they were either no longer available or impossible to buy. This forced Matt Armstrong and his team to think differently. Instead of waiting for the factory to provide solutions, they decided to create many of the missing parts themselves. One of the most impressive moments involved a skilled machinist named Bob, whose experience became one of the biggest reasons the project kept moving forward. Bob was not a Bugatti engineer, and he did not have access to the company's secret designs or manufacturing drawings. All he had was a broken part, years of machining experience, and a determination to rebuild something that many people believed could never be copied. The damaged component was a complex aluminum structural bracket that played an important role in holding major parts of the car together. Every measurement had to be exact because even a tiny error could affect the way the engine and chassis lined up. Bob spent more than 60 hours carefully studying the broken piece before cutting, welding, shaping, and machining a brand new replacement. Using modern tools such as 3D scanning together with traditional machining skills, he slowly recreated the part until it matched the original. When it was finally installed, everything lined up perfectly, proving that independent craftsmen could achieve an incredible level of accuracy without factory support. That success inspired the team to tackle even more difficult problems. They repaired damaged cooling pipes, rebuilt important brackets, and found creative solutions for parts that many people assumed were impossible to replace. Even small discoveries surprised viewers. For example, some components inside one of the world's most expensive hypercars turn out to be much simpler than people expected. These moments reminded everyone that expensive cars are still built from individual parts that can often be understood and repaired by talented engineers. More importantly, they showed that experience, patience, and problem-solving skills can sometimes be just as valuable as having access to expensive factory equipment. Every successful repair gave the team more confidence and brought the once-destroyed Bugatti one step closer to returning to the road, proving that true craftsmanship can overcome obstacles that seem impossible at first glance. As news of the rebuild spread across the internet, the project became about much more than fixing a damaged Bugatti. It started a worldwide discussion about what it truly means to own something. One of the biggest obstacles Matt Armstrong faced was not a broken engine or damaged suspension, but the fact that Bugatti had officially marked the car as a total loss after the accident. Once that decision was made, the vehicle's identity was effectively locked inside the company's system. According to the stories shared throughout the rebuild, authorized Bugatti dealers could no longer provide many important replacement parts for that specific car. For many people watching, this raised an important question. If someone legally buys a vehicle, should they have the right to repair it however they choose? This question is not limited to expensive hypercars. Around the world, people face similar problems with smartphones, tractors, computers, and many other products that can only be repaired through approved service centers. This growing debate has become known as the right to repair movement, and Matt's Bugatti project unexpectedly became one of its most famous examples. Millions of viewers who had never heard of the movement suddenly became interested because they could clearly see the challenges happening in real time. Instead of simply ordering factory parts, the team had to search for creative alternatives, manufacture missing components, and solve problems through engineering rather than paperwork. Every obstacle they overcame seemed to prove that independent repair shops and skilled mechanics could achieve results that many believed were only possible inside the factory. At the same time, others argued that Bugatti's strict rules existed for good reasons. A Chiron is capable of incredible speeds, and every safety system must work perfectly to protect the driver. From Bugatti's point of view, allowing damaged cars to be repaired without factory supervision could create serious safety risks. This created two understandable viewpoints. One side supported the owner's freedom to repair their own property, while the other focused on ensuring that such a powerful machine remained completely safe. Instead of becoming a simple argument between a company and a YouTuber, the rebuild highlighted a much larger conversation about ownership, responsibility, safety, and the future of repairs in an increasingly technology-driven world. It showed that the issues raised by one damaged Bugatti could eventually affect millions of people who own everyday products as well as the project became more popular. It also attracted the attention of people at the highest level of the automotive industry. Many expected a long public battle between Matt Armstrong and Bugatti, but what happened was far more respectful than anyone imagined. Instead of ignoring the rebuild or attacking it publicly, Bugatti CEO Matt Rimac decided to speak directly about the project. He explained that the company's biggest concern was not protecting its reputation, but making sure the car would be safe after such a serious accident. A Bugatti Chiron is one of the fastest production cars in the world, capable of reaching incredible speeds that place enormous stress on every part of the vehicle. Because of this, Bugatti follows extremely strict engineering standards during manufacturing and repairs. Rimac pointed out that some crash damage, especially inside the carbon fiber structure, may not always be visible to the human eye. He also explained that rebuilding such a complex machine requires special equipment, factory knowledge, and years of experience. These were reasonable concerns, and many engineers agreed that safety should always come before everything else. At the same time, Matt Armstrong respected Bugatti's position, while continuing to believe that skilled independent builders could complete the repair responsibly. Rather than turn the situation into a personal fight, both sides showed respect for each other's experience and goals. As the project continued, communication between the team and Bugatti gradually improved. Reports suggested that some restrictions on replacement parts became less severe, and the estimated prices for certain components were clarified after many exaggerated figures had spread online. This helped reduce some of the confusion surrounding the rebuild. Instead of becoming a story about enemies competing against each other, the project became an example of two different ways of looking at the same challenge. Bugatti focused on protecting safety and maintaining its engineering standards, while Matt focused on proving that determination, careful workmanship, and modern technology could overcome obstacles that once seemed impossible. This balanced approach made the story even more interesting because it showed that real life is rarely divided into heroes and villains. Sometimes two people can disagree while still respecting each other's skills, and that mutual respect became one of the most memorable parts of the entire Bugatti rebuild journey. In the end, the rebuilt Bugatti Chiron became much more than a repaired hypercar. It became a symbol of determination, creativity, and a belief that difficult problems can be solved when people refuse to give up. What started as a badly damaged vehicle that many experts believed would never drive again slowly turned into one of the most famous rebuild projects ever shared on YouTube. Every stage of the journey taught an important lesson. It showed that success is not achieved by avoiding challenges, but by facing them one step at a time. Matt Armstrong and his team spent countless hours inspecting damaged parts, designing new solutions, correcting mistakes, and learning from every setback they encountered. Their patience and willingness to keep moving forward inspired millions of viewers around the world. The project also reminded people that modern engineering is not only about expensive machines or advanced technology. Human skill, experience, teamwork, and determination remain just as important. At the same time, the rebuild opened a much larger discussion about the future of vehicle ownership. As cars become more advanced and controlled by software, many owners are beginning to ask whether they should have greater freedom to repair the products they legally own. The Bugatti project became one of the strongest examples of this debate because it involved one of the world's most valuable and technically advanced cars. Whether someone agrees with Bugatti's careful safety standards or supports independent repairs, there is no denying that the project encouraged people to think more deeply about these issues. Today, Matt Armstrong continues taking on ambitious automotive challenges, proving that his passion for rebuilding extraordinary vehicles has not slowed down. His work has inspired countless mechanics, students, engineers, and car enthusiasts to believe that impossible projects can become reality through dedication and careful planning. The rebuilt Chiron stands as proof that failure does not always mark the end of the story. Sometimes it becomes the beginning of something even greater. As the engine roars back to life and the car returns to the road, it represents far more than speed or luxury. It represents human determination, innovation, and the courage to challenge limits that others accept without question. That is why this remarkable rebuild will continue to be remembered as one of the most inspiring automotive stories of recent years, encouraging future builders to dream bigger, work harder, and never stop believing that the impossible can one day become possible. The story of Matt Armstrong's Bugatti rebuild will likely be remembered for many years, not simply because it involved one of the world's most expensive hypercars, but because it challenged the way people think about engineering, ownership, and determination. Throughout the entire journey, viewers watched a project that many experts believed had almost no chance of succeeding. Every new episode